At the podium. Have all brought iced coffee today.
I do. I do. Those giant white dogs he had that were always on him. Okay, let's play. It is 9 o'clock, Tuesday, June 17th. This is the regular Board of Works meeting. Let's start with roll call.
Andy Jones,
Present.
Rose Rivera,
Present.
Mike Macklin,
Here.
Ronnie Davis,
Here.
Jamie Arcee.
Here.
Thank you, Board.
Could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. First item on the agenda is to open quote 25-10, tree removal central contract.
It's actually contract one. That was my tree removal contract one. That was on me.
Ready. First quote is from Casey Tree Incorporated. Their total quote on the quote summary sheet is $86,600, 86600. Second quote is from different form. Second quote is from Chapman's Tree Care LLC. Their total quote is $67,800, 67800. Quote is from Cutright Services. Their total quote is $63,971, I think. 63971. And the final quote is from Williams A1 Expert Tree Service. Their quote, $51,800, 51,800. We awarding today? Okay, could I have a motion to assign these to staff and review and report back at the end of the meeting?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Chip. Claim and allowance docket.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the claims and allowance docket in the amount of $4,459,220.35, consisting of 34 pages, printed on June 10th, 2025 at 11:09 a.m.
Motion and a second. Hello, Aaron.
Good morning, Erin Coons, Deputy Controller. We have our monthly trash service fee to Borden for $199,335.21. One for Ames Lift Station to Selge Construction for $291,259.59. And then under pre-approved, we have our capital outlay transfer. We do these quarterly from general fund to capital outlay. Unfortunately, we included the offset for the revenue portion of capital outlay, so the actual true expense total is not reflected in the docket, which we will correct next time for reporting.
Questions for Aaron? Jamie, you got any questions?
None.
Righty, all those in favor of approving claim and allowance docket totaling $4,459,220.35 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Aaron. Could I have a motion to approve the Board of Works meetings for Tuesday, June 3rd?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any changes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to authorize the board president to execute the interlocal agreement with the Elkhart County Redevelopment Commission for Elkhart East Area A.
So moved.
And second.
Morning,
Lori.
Board. So this is for Elkhart East Area A. It's kind of convoluted. The developer is putting in all the infrastructure. The county redevelopment TIF is paying for the project, but they demanded that we bid and manage the project and sign this interlocal agreement. And we went back and forth with them because we didn't like the language between the county and us. And finally, we got to a place where we agreed to accept the language and get the document approved.
This was bid, did we bid this?
We bid this, we're managing the project, but we're not paying for it.
Okay. I just remembered that if, in the past, developers wanted to pay and not have us bid, which wasn't legal, so.
Well, the county's got all of that straightened out with the developer.
And Tori, if I recall, this was a circumstance where we established a trust account related to that, or is this a different project or similar but no longer necessary given the way it's?
I don't know how the county and the developer are handling the payments.
Okay.
This annexed area, or,
Yes, this is
It is.
an annexed area, yep.
okay.
Which explains why the county's probably saying, well, you guys manage it because you're going to get it.
All right. Any other questions for Tori? Seeing none, all those in favor of this interlocal agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we authorize the board president to execute the professional service agreement with Weaver Consultants Group for the subsurface investigation of River District parking lot and multi-use path with fees not to exceed $5,000.
Motion and a second. Tori?
So despite our best efforts to investigating why, we have a portion of the pathway we put in the River District back in 2017, 18, 19 that keeps heaving. And we've tried expansion joints, we've tried replacing it. Outside of it there being a fault line, we don't know what's causing the continued heaving of the sidewalk. So we're asking to pass this PSA so that we can have someone do a subsurface investigation.
Out of curiosity, what part is this? Along the railroad?
Yeah, it's along the railroad between the new apartment complex and the rail.
So from the node towards Prairie. Oh, got, oh, that north-south section. Yes. Got it.
Part of Weaver Booze, Weaver Company? Is this a new company?
Couldn't tell you. I don't know.
All right. All those in favor of this PSA and getting board president permission to sign signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Mr. President, I move that we reject all quotes received for quote number 25-09, the West Hubbard Avenue sewer and manhole repair.
Motion and a second.
We don't have enough money.
Okay. All those in favor of rejecting all quotes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the plans and specifications and grant permission to quote 25-13 Williams Street drainage improvement.
In a second.
This
Tori?
is just a small drainage project. We're working with the Elkhart Community Schools on connecting into their system to alleviate a ponding issue.
Ready. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we accept the perpetual water and wastewater utility easement from SK Weaver Holdings LLC.
Motion in a second. If I recall, this is just where they're crossing our right-of-way, we're crossing their area?
No, they didn't build the pipe to plan, so they had to widen the easement area. This is up at the old movie theater site, Freddy's.
Oh, okay. Any questions beyond that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we award bid number 25-14, the Stevens Avenue, Francis Avenue, and Second Street reconstruction to Niblock Excavating, who submitted the lowest responsive bid with a contract price in the amount of $1,849,913.30.
Second.
Council appropriated money last night. This is a CCMG project. Second, Francis and Stevens.
Is this just a mill and fill, or are you doing more?
So Francis and Stevens, it is the old granite concrete, and it will be coming out, and we will be rebuilding the roadway. And then Second Street is mostly a mill and fill, except for the concrete sections.
Other questions?
Just which blocks? Which
Or
address, yeah, for Francis and Stevens?
north of Lusher.
Okay, thanks.
And the goal, if I recall, Tori, is to retain the existing curbing
That's the
there,
goal.
if
The curbing
possible.
and the drives, if possible. Yep.
Well, that's some pretty sturdy concrete. It's been in there probably since, what, the 20s?
Yeah, over 100 years, we estimate. And it would be in there another 100 years if it weren't for the CCMG grant.
Well, it's better than speed bumps, right? All righty. All those in favor of awarding 2514 to Niblock for $1,849,913.30 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we accept the communication on temporary signs in the public right-of-way.
Second?
Motion in a second.
This is just a letter we received from someone that wants temporary signs and their flag signs in the right of way, which is not per the zoning. It's being handled through the BZA and different route. So we're just asking to accept communication.
Okay.
Will the board need to take action at any point, Tori, on this?
I don't know. That's really an Eric Trotter question.
Okay.
He's changing the zoning ordinance.
Oh, it's
I
part
don't
of
know
that.
if it's going to be something that's accepted in the future, but for right now, it's going to be handled through BZA.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Speaking of Eric Trotter, he has graced us with his presence
Oh.
today. So,
Eric Trotter Planning. I'm a official now, sorry.
So I see Mr. Carter's here. Everybody's in agreement with this now?
Yes, we are. We're working with he and the church to kind of work our way through this.
And if the BZA approves it, then we're out of it, right?
The BZA would look for the private property,
Okay,
any variation from the ordinance requirement, anything for the Board of Works and the right-of-way, you would still address that in the future.
okay.
Will this be addressed in any future changes to the ordinance or otherwise?
Only with regard to what would be allowed for temporary signage
Okay.
on private property.
Got it.
The zoning ordinance will still not have anything to do with any tree lawn installation. That would still be administered and approved through this board.
And Eric, from a clarification in the email that we had, there's a non-B zoning district reference. Is that just
That is-
referencing private property
That
essentially?
is pulled directly from our ordinance
Okay.
language.
Mr. Carter, do you wish to speak?
Yeah, I just want to thank the, oh, okay. Shorter people? Okay. Yeah, I just want to thank the Board of Works for their cooperation. The sign program at First Presbyterian Church is a very important part of our mission to reach out to the local community. We've been active in the local community, and the sign program actually gives the local community more information about what's happening within our church, and helps us send the message of God's love and hope. So thank you very much, and I have a plan in front of you that is designed to get us in compliance. We're working with Eric Trotter. Eventually, we'll come back to you for a 5-year permit for the use of the request for a 5-year permit for the use of the tree lawn in front of First Presbyterian Church along Beardsley.
Thanks, Bruce. Questions from Mr. Carter? Seeing none. All those in favor of accepting communication, place it on file, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we ratify partial payment request number 23 in the amount of $190,570 to C&E Excavating from SRF loan WW221-62005 for construction on the Oakland Avenue Force Main Phase A project.
Second.
Motion and a second. How about an update? I avoid the whole area like the plague now, and
Yep, Jason Simnick, project manager. The project's going well. Right now, they're working around Navajo Street now, so they're about 2 or 3 blocks away from Waurika, which would be where they're going to turn and go towards the tank. They're nearing the end of this phase before they start putting pavement down, because we just, we don't want to have the whole road tore up for all the homeowners through the whole project. So we got.
so did they pave from Franklin East?
Franklin East is paved. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can go back and so we've got last year we
Telling
did.
you, I avoid it all.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Last year we went from Franklin East to the tank, and that has all been paved. It actually looks very nice. We got the pathway in. The road has been narrowed a little bit. It was a very wide road for being a 2-lane road, so we've narrowed it so we get more tree lawn. Planted a bunch of trees down through there. It's going well. Utility work is going good since NIPSCO is out of our way now. So.
Other questions for Jason?
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor of ratifying payment number 23 for Oakland Avenue Force Main Phase A project signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we sign and date the letter allowing the Bank of New York to release the escrow account associated with the Elkhart wastewater treatment plant capacity upgrade Phase 2 project.
Second.
And a second.
As part of that project, at the beginning of it, a escrow account was set up with the public works accountant. There have been some issues because people have, well, she is no longer with us, and apparently she was the only signatory that could do things, and so I've been going through the process of BNY releasing the escrow account because it's not through the IFA; it's a separate account. Oh, that was Nicolette. Yeah. Yeah. So she was the only signatory, and so I've been dealing with BNY directly, and they gave me a list of things that we need to have done. I gave that list to Aaron as well, and this was part of the list, was to have a letter saying that we are releasing we're doing a final release of retainage on that project, so.
So the project's totally done now?
Oh, the project's done, yeah, they've just been waiting for money for this to be released, so, I mean, it's.
Is this the final step then?
This is your final step.
I mean, you have all the other forms ready to go?
I think so. I mean, it's, yeah, there's, as far as I'm concerned, I'm done. But
Okay.
it'll be a little bit of time before they get the money released to them. I've been in contact with Bowen and told them all the issues, and they're waiting.
Understanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're understanding, but they're waiting, so it's.
Amy, any thoughts, comments?
No, I just recall that this had been a process that we were trying to get resolved, to get the retainage fully released. And this had been my only, I guess, experience with having the retainage be formally escrowed, where the contractor was then benefiting from the interest income that was being earned, which makes sense when you're, from a contractor perspective, when they're doing a $30 million project or whatever it ended up being,
multi-years, yeah.
for multi-years, to want to take advantage of that. But
And I guess, do we usually put two names as signatories?
well, normally, in an ideal circumstance, the controller as fiscal officer should be the only signatory on all related bank accounts.
And you guys are signing as the owner, because that's what you are on
Yeah.
the forms that they have, so.
Yeah.
Thanks for the finance lesson. Or the bureaucracy lesson.
Yeah, yeah, that's a board of, I think it's a statutory and a board of accounts requirement.
All right, all those in favor of taking this action signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I have a motion to award quote 25-12 Beardsley and Greenleaf Storm Sewer Connection to Premium Concrete, who submitted the lowest responsive bid quote with contract amount of $23,426.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second.
It's a good bid by a good contractor. We're ready to go.
Storm sewer money, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a motion to award bid 25-16 asphalt crack sealing project to Asphalt Restoration Services, who submitted the lowest responsive bid with a contract price in the amount of $125,000.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Same thing.
Same situation, yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we accept and place on file the Water Utility Monthly Report of Operations for the month of May 2025.
Second.
Motion and a second. Morning, Laura.
Good morning.
Anything exciting?
Nope.
Violations?
Nope.
The new thing working?
What new thing?
circular cloth media.
Oh,
Oh, this is
this
water.
is water.
I apologize.
That's working fine. But,
Okay. They all look alike on this end of the table.
yeah.
What water wheel? We don't have a water wheel. All right. No huge increase in pumping yet?
I don't believe so.
All righty, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Let me see here, Mike. Mr. President, I move that we approve the approve an amendment 2 for the on-call SCADA services with Donahue for $65,000. For a total contract let me revise that. I move that we approve the attached amendment number 2 for SCADA services with Donahue for an increase of $10,000, bringing the total contract price to $65,000.
Second.
Motion and a second.
This is just we're hoping to clean up some work left over from the plant expansion and some other improvements that need to be made with getting some of our outlying sites completely monitored through the SCADA system.
Okay, makes sense. And I think you said it was in the budget, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the MOU with AFSCME and Teamsters. Oh, are they? Okay, yep. All right. Mr. President, I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Elkhart and AFSCME.
Second.
Second. Just affect
This-
Public Works?
This does affect only the operations team at Public Works. That's why it's coming before the Board of Works. It's to transition the operations team from three 8-hour shifts to 12-hour shifts.
Oh, okay.
It's something that's been talked about among the team for 15, 20 years. And we have a proposal. Or I should say, we came to an agreement on how we can make that happen. So,
And Laura, from the overtime perspective, this is mirroring existing language where any hours in excess of the 12, their scheduled shift
Yes.
would be determined to be overtime in addition to the 40-hour pieces
Correct.
as well, correct?
Yep.
Great.
How do they get 40 hours?
it's done by pay period. 1 week, they'll work 36 hours,
Okay.
because it's 3 shifts 1 week, 4 shifts the next.
Ready? Other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the memo of understanding, did you say with AFSCME first?
Yeah, with AFSCME.
AFSCME, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Could I have a
Mr.
motion to approve the memo of understanding with Teamsters concerning utility operations?
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve Winona Powder Coating Incorporated permit number 2003-02 compliance deadline for the installation of discharge meter from June 30th, 2025 to May 1st, 2027, subject to the conditions outlined within the memorandum.
Second.
Wait a minute. Give me a second. Got a second? Good. Go ahead, Steve, sorry. Go ahead, Steve, sorry.
Good morning, Board. Steve Brown, Public Works. Winona Powder Coat took a proactive approach to install a wastewater treatment system. They had some challenges with zinc in past years. And as some of you may know, we implemented the discharge meter for all our significant industrial users. So this, the discharge meter is going to be significant, so it's going to be more cost for our SIUs to come into compliance with. Winona has moved forward with installing the discharge meter at the end of process, but they wanted to file an exemption for their end of pipe. So working with them, because they have already installed that wastewater treatment system, we felt it deemed necessary to request the board extend the exemption for the end of pipe, contingent upon if there's no violations with their discharge.
It's like a permanent exemption from some chemical responsibilities?
So with the discharge meter mandate,
But-
is that what you?
Okay, so what's the exemption for?
Is the exemption is to, if you qualify to meet an exemption, the exemption is to prove if their discharge coming to the city is representative of their flow based on time-based monitoring. So flow proportional monitoring, EPA states, is a more accurate means of determining compliance. But time-based, if you go time-based, it needs to be documented as to why you're going time-based instead of flow-based. So if the industry can prove to us that their discharge is consistent and it doesn't fluctuate up and down with the pollutants and the flow, and then an exemption may be granted. So that's a opportunity for our industries to, if they can prove to us that time-based is similar to flow-based, and then exemption may be granted, if that makes sense.
It does, so that doesn't have anything to do with their flow meter, though.
In order to do flow proportional monitoring, you need a discharge meter
Okay.
in order to do so. So,
Help clarify.
sure.
If I can help clarify, maybe?
Sure.
The exemption is that they would not be required to install the metering device.
Oh,
But in order to qualify for the exemption, there's certain criteria they have to make.
okay.
This industry recently made improvements to their system, and we are very confident that they'll be able to prove that, because one of the criteria is no violations. And we're very confident in their abilities that now that the system's in, that they will not have any violations, because they put quite a significant financial investment into the system. But we need some time, they need some time to prove to us that they can run this without violations. And then if that's the case, then they will be eligible for an exemption from having to install the meter.
Okay.
Thank you, Laura and Steve, for that. I guess my question regarding the violation pieces is, do we have flexibility where it won't be necessarily binary in their not being compliant and then having to install the meter? Or is it you get one violation, then we're going to require the installation of the monitoring meter?
Yeah, I believe, depending on the severity of the discharge and the violation, I'm sure we can work together with the industry and communicate to the board as well, the next steps, but I don't foresee anything happening to
So
that extent.
It's not a go, no-go. If they get a violation, they have, in the future, they don't have to automatically put in the flow meter. That'll just be part of any resolution to a,
Correct. They'll have to move
Great.
forward with the installation of a discharge meter. And we can clarify those terms if it comes to that moving forward.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve.
I think
I'm
there's
glad we
a-
have some flexibility built in for both parties to be able to make sure that we're obtaining the same goals.
I think there's a representative.
say, is there any representative that wishes to
Winona?
address the board? You have to come up here if you wish to address the board. You don't have to, but we're always welcome. And then you need to state your name for the record and sign in.
Raymond Walker, Winona Powder, Inc.
Raymond, thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Board. I appreciate the time.
And you support what Steve's saying? Do you want to add anything?
No, sir, I 100% support what Steve is saying. We've been in close contact for many months during this installation, and I feel like everything that they're offering to us and that we've done in good faith, and I think they're offering, a possible extension in good faith as well.
Great, great. Well, thanks for working on this. Thanks for improving your process.
We appreciate the time.
Appreciate it. Other questions?
No, thank you for being here in the sauna with us all, too. I know taking time out of your day to come into these kinds of meetings is deliberate, and, I appreciate it.
All righty, thank you. All those in favor of approving the compliance deadline with installation of discharge meter to May 1st, 2027, according to the memo, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt Resolution 25-R-09, a resolution of the Board of Public Works of the City of Elkhart, Indiana, to designate and authorize the compliance director to carry out fines and sign consent orders related to noncompliance with discharge metering.
Motion and a second. What's this?
So this is also in regards to the discharge meter. As you just kind of recap, the discharge meter mandate is a significant change for the whole pretreatment program. For years, this requirement has been overlooked.
Time out. Overlooked, it was a requirement by the EPA and we overlooked it? Or we didn't enforce it?
We didn't enforce it, and there were previous audits prior. I don't know how we got this far, but had an audit last week with IDEM, and they even brought up the fact that time proportional and flow base needs to be documented for each one of our industries. So last year, we had a meeting with all our industries, called a meeting May 9th, 2024, updating our industries, letting them know that they had until June 30th of this year to comply with the discharge meter. A lot of industries have requested an extension, and we met internally to come up with this proposal. As we stated earlier, that flow base is a more accurate means of determining compliance. So if the industry, if our SAU misses the deadline of June 30th, 2025, they will be issued a notice of violation with a $250 penalty.
$250 or $2,500?
Oh, $250.
Oh, okay.
Just for not meeting the June 30th deadline. If they will have a somewhat of a grace period until August 1st of this year to meet that deadline and the requirement, but by August 1st, they will need to come in and sign a consent order. The issuance of a consent order, our enforcement response plan requires us to implement a $2,500 penalty, I guess you could say, for the consent order. But the industry will also need to have a signed contract stating that they will meet the compliance date by June 30th, 2026 of next year. And I think there's a list provided. That list has dwindled down. I got a few calls from some of our industries that they're going to meet the deadline, but there's quite a few still that will not meet that deadline. So this extension is what we are proposing for our industries. Should it come to the consent order, they will have to pay the $2,500 fine as well as the late fee of $250. And then they will have until June 30th, 2026 to comply. And they need to come and sign that consent order by August 1st. If they don't sign the consent order by August 1st, there's a $250 penalty per day until they do so.
So if I'm going to take vacation, it would be best to take it in August because there'll be a flood of.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I guess two questions. One, I guess, is just clarifying that the attachment or that this authorization is only, it's restricted to those listed on attachment A for all intents and purposes.
That's right.
And I guess, is there an appeal component built in, or have we thought about that in the event that the SIU disagrees or otherwise? Is that a future action that the board is going to have to potentially be prepared for?
That is an excellent question, and I don't believe we discussed.
Well, you've already taken that action with Winona, right? They could come in and ask for a variance.
Brian Kress, Regulatory Compliance. So as with any notice of violation, the board, they can come to the board, they can say, hey, we were assessed this notice of violation. We don't think that was appropriate. Can you guys do something about it? They can do that as they would with anything else, any other action that we take, right?
Great. Perfect. And thank you for that clarification, Brian. And I guess the next piece would be any future new significant users would be building their plants to be compliant right out the gate, right? These are existing businesses that are having to bring their current systems into compliance versus if I'm building a new facility, I'm going to have different requirements to meet this all at the same time, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
New facilities, we got a couple potential SIUs coming into the picture. Right from the jump, they will be required to meet this discharge metering mandate. So this is just for those that have been notified last year, our existing SIUs.
When you notified, you gave them a year to comply, right?
A year to comply,
Okay.
yes.
I would just like to share with the board, Steve has led the pretreatment team along with Brian, Maggie, myself, Dara, too. This has been a very long process. We've been discussing this for 2 years. And the fact that June 30th is a couple weeks away, a couple months ago, it was extremely frustrating seeing so much looks like heading in the direction of non-compliance. At the same time, we're balancing the fact that this has been a requirement for decades, and we have not enforced it. So it's a balance. So as much as we do not like the idea of a furthering the extension, and it's had a tremendous impact on their pretreatment team, and has even a bigger financial impact on some of our industries. That's why we're trying to do all we can to work with them, but still get them in compliance.
Oh, no, I think you guys are doing good.
Yeah, I guess my question is the penalty matrix stiff enough to make it an economic disincentive to not be compliant versus?
The way we're executing it, we believe it is.
Okay.
Oh, because if they don't come in compliance, suddenly it's $250 a day.
Yeah, and or making sure that that was enough of an incentive
Yeah.
to force the compliance.
So this shows 35, and you said some of these are in compliance. Is this half? Is this all? I mean, how many SIUs do you have that will need to take this action?
The majority of them,
Number?
currently we have 3 in compliance. I just got a call this morning.
Total number of SIUs.
Total number of SIUs currently is 42. 3 of those are in compliance.
Okay.
And more of them will be in compliant with the June 30th deadline. I don't have the exact number for you, but.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate the work. I'm sure you guys are juggling 5 or 10 things at a time and doing fish inventories. All those in favor of approving the resolution 25-R-09 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we close out the JBS Prepared Foods Administrative Order issued by the Board of Public Works on June 4th, 2024.
Motion and a second. They're finally done?
Finally done. JBS has met all the requirements of the administrative order. I would like to say that JBS has made a significant change from previous. It seemed to be working against one another, but now it's working with each other, which is much more what we intend to have. This new plant manager, Brent Stevens, has been a great turnaround and a great benefit for compliance. So we recommend the closeout of this administrative order.
And then have we been watching grease build up in the receiving lines? Has that changed?
Everything is good. I checked with the collections team a month ago. They're still going out and checking that, and no issues.
Good. Great. Anybody from JBS here or online? General online reminder, board policy, city policy. In order to speak online, you have to be visible as well as audible. No one's here. With that said, all those in favor of closing out the JBS Food Administrative Order signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we issue Service Specialties of Elkhart DBA Liftco Incorporated, permit number 2005-01, its 5-year industrial wastewater discharge permit renewal.
Second?
Motion and a second. Standard?
Standard 5-year permit renewal for Service Specialties of Elkhart, doing business as Liftco. Great corporate citizens, metal finisher. Yep, just a standard permit renewal, 5-year permit renewal.
Celebrating 20 years. essentially. Being a permit holder.
They have their discharge meter?
Unfortunately, no.
All righty. All those in favor of issuing this renewal signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we request that we approve the bid documents and grant permission to advertise bids for bid number 25-15, the Elkhart Municipal Trash and Recycling Management.
Second.
Motion and a second. Hey, Tori.
It's time to bid the trash contract.
Ouch.
The biggest change within the documents this year will be, we've tightened up a bunch of the language regarding phone calls and wait times, hold times. Everyone's getting a new trash can and a new recycling can, and also large item pickups will be the same day as your trash service.
Do I have to call for them?
No.
Oh,
Yep.
So that'll be the primary difference, right, is not having to call, because at least for me, my understanding had always been that it was, that the large items were intended to mirror my same day, but just had to call, so it'll be nice just to be able to put stuff out.
I'm also glad to hear, I just got a complaint. Somebody called and couldn't get through. And then they were told that our subdivision was not in the service area from the, I think there's some computer program.
There's a new company handling Borden's trash service, and yeah, we're fairly certain that everything we've asked for can be delivered to us because Mishawaka gets it. So,
How about electronic waste? Any change in that area? I know right now you have to take it into the place yourself, and then they charge you a slight fee, unless, of course, I think there's going to be a day this month that it'll be free. So I'm just wondering if
so that is worked out with the dump, the county dump, that service. There is no change on what we have not required them to pick up electronic waste. If they choose to pick up electronic waste, we're leaving that up to them, but we are not requiring them to pick up items that are not normally picked up in household trash service.
Got it. So if I have a TV to place out, it'll be at their discretion, and if they don't pick it up, then that's your answer.
Yep.
If it's not a tube, you can take it to Goodwill. They take electronic, non-tube electronics. And if you're lucky, they don't realize it, and they take some tube electronics too. Just saying, I've heard that happens.
Oh.
Tori, what are still going to have options on the size of the trash receptacle?
No, one size. There aren't enough residents that have requested the smaller size trash receptacles, so we're just going to go with the one size big trash receptacle.
And this
That's a
is
bummer.
weekly service for both trash and recycling?
Correct, yep.
And recycling is just one size too.
And recycling's the separate cart, one size, yep.
Great.
Yeah, the big ones don't fit in my garage.
Well, the good news is they can be outside now.
I have no,
Really?
I have no outside either. I have the smallest lot in the city, I think. Well, the river's nearby.
Is it still one large item per month?
It's two large, I think we limited it to 2 large items per week.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
I don't have that many large
I
items.
mean, the reality is people aren't going to use 2 items a week, so.
Do the residents do we have to return the other carts? Or what do we do with those?
It'll be up to the new contractor to make those arrangements, and they have very hard deadlines on when all of the old carts have to be gone or they get charged for them.
Heimco owns the old carts, don't
They do, but if Heimco chooses not to pick them up, they become trash.
Okay.
And so if Heimco does not become our, if they're not awarded the bid and they choose to not pick up their carts,
It will be up to the new
the
bidder
new bidder will take care of that as
to
part of it.
make whatever
Or if
arrangements
Andy
they need
wants
to
to
make.
keep it, he can hide it at that point in the river.
Perfect. Thank you, Tori, for allowing us to get in the weeds.
All righty. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we ratify 4 water assessments, 3 sewer assessments, 1 revocable permit, 2 driveway permits, and 2 release of bonds.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve an amendment to the Infocus contract approved on May the 6th, 2025 to include additional services as described in the attached memo for an additional cost of $4,583.34.
Motion and a second. Does anybody need information on this?
Eric, do you want to share it all?
Eric Trotter Planning. Enfocus is helping me finish up the presentation for the update. Oh, am I not? Is that better? Yeah. Okay. They're helping me finish up the presentation materials for the UDO. It's done. So the Unified Development Ordinance.
Oh, okay.
So we're working on presentation materials to help give me some additional bandwidth.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Great. All those in favor of this contract amendment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we authorize the board president to sign the annexation petition.
Second.
Petition affidavit.
Petition affidavit.
There's a motion and a second. What's this?
The administration is working to annex the Prairie Street Cemetery.
Ah, okay. Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Eric.
Mr. President, I move that we authorize the fleet manager to dispose of assets and...
First paragraph, Jamie.
Yeah, to dispose of surplus equipment no longer in surface from the street department and send assets to auction if necessary.
Second.
Motion and a second. Hey, guys.
Good morning, Board. This is just old equipment and some old cars and stuff that need to go. And they're not really even worth trading in.
Questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the removal and disposal of a Cummins generator from the Elkhart City 911 Center and declare it with no economic value.
In a second.
Good morning, Dustin McLean, Department Head for the 911 Center. Happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
So I didn't read this carefully. So you're declaring it, the generator have no value?
That's correct. We had Cummins Service come out. We had an issue with the generator. They advised us that the coolant pump was faulty and that there are no replacement parts anywhere in the country. The generator was made and installed in 1991, so it has more than served its purpose. We have found a replacement generator. We need this one removed. There's no one on the market that's looking for this generator or parts for it in particular, per our Cummins technicians. So getting rid of it's probably the best option at this time.
Great, thank you, Dustin.
And good job on finding that gently used generator to meet the needs of your department, while also being mindful that in the future you're going to hopefully be transitioning to
Yes.
a new facility, and we
Yeah,
won't
the
be
new
needing
generator is
this.
going to be very helpful for us, and then when we're done with it, we can repurpose that because it's a mobile generator. It's in an enclosed trailer, so we can give it to our buildings and grounds, our central garage, whoever may desire, or maybe the airport if you guys need something along those lines. So it was cost effective and just made sense. So appreciate that. Thank you, Jamie.
Yep.
Again, I didn't read this carefully. Did you need a special appropriation, or did you have this budgeted?
No, we already had this budgeted for the purchase of the new generator. We already have that approved through the Board of Safety. Just need you guys to give me the approval to remove the current one. I'll call Mike Leitner, have him tear it out, and we can get the new one installed.
Great. In that case, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you
Thanks.
much.
Good work.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the revised payment schedule for the, with Cisco regarding the network upgrade project.
Second.
Motion and a second.
So the board had previously approved the agreement. There were some changes to the payment schedule that had been reflected. Rose had worked with James to get that updated and felt that it was most appropriate to bring back to the board to have it be, have the revised payment plan be affected, to be approved, which defers the first payment to January 2026. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the initial documentation that went in front of the board had a payment schedule that required us to pay this month for the first payment, and we need it to be 6 months out from now. So this is just the new schedule saying that it will be 6 months out from now.
Yeah, and all funding will be included as part of their 2026 operating budget and in future operating budgets as needed.
Nancy, but I kept getting a email from somebody claiming to be from Cisco.
Yeah, we're all getting that right now. It's annoying. Hopefully it'll stop soon.
Okay. All righty. All those in favor of the revised payment schedule signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Use and events. Mr. President, I move that we approve.
I think
No,
we got,
award quotes, sorry. Yeah.
I move that we award quote number 25-10 for contract 2025-1 for the Forestry Division of Public Buildings and Grounds to Williams A1 Expert Tree Service, and request that the board authorize such to be administered and monitored by the city forester in the amount of $51,800.
Time out. Let's, just to be nitpicky, I don't see that on the agenda.
Yeah, it's number 9. It's in bold, though.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go
Yep.
ahead. All right, that was a motion.
Yeah, second.
And a second. They were the lowest?
Yes, they were the lowest quoter.
Great.
Chip, have we done work with them in the past? Have we awarded other versions of this to them?
We have. Of the 4 contracts that I issued last year, they did one of them, and they have done work for us in the past on an on-call basis.
And you were generally happy with the
Very happy.
results? Great.
Righty. That said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right, use and permits.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chip.
Thank
Sorry
you.
to keep you waiting.
All right, I move that we approve the following use and events permits. St. Thomas the Apostle Picnic on June the 29th. Faith Mission Turkey Stampede, November 27th. Juneteenth at Tolson, June 19th. Taste of Africa at Tolson, July 12th. Tolson Latin Festival, September 20th. South Shore Neighborhood Association Cleanup Party, June 28th, and Progress Fest, August the 9th.
That was a motion.
Second?
And a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public participations. Anybody in the chamber wish to address the board? Seeing none, is there anybody online that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, Jamie?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
And a second, we are adjourned.
Passing down one that you guys, you three missed on signatures.